Bonjour. We are here, that's better, in a place called Petit for Philippe, and actually a place called Grande for Philippe. So there's an estuary. Petit is that side, Grande is this side. And just for some context, the Port de Calais is over there, and Dunkirk is behind me. I'll drop three words for this place. It's a free air, no services. Because of the sensitivity of the area, those flats there seem to be full of gendarmerie, so the military police. And there's been numerous patrols up and down. Yesterday I was up in the dunes seeking the Atlantic Wall, and I got an amazing sunset. I didn't take this camera with me because I knew there'd be a certain amount of crawling about and navigating through brambles and stuff. I've ruined a pair of trousers for it. Anyway, so this is where we're at today. We've been here all night. It's been very quiet. We're in the thick of the Atlantic Wall. Everywhere you look, literally everywhere, there's remnants. So you won't see that, but there's a bunker there. There's two bunkers there behind the bus. This is what's left of a bunker, I would say. There's another one poking out the top there, and there's one behind this house. And then they stretch all along the embankment wall. But like I say, I'll drop three words here. It's free, no services. Unfortunately, the information board's done a runner. But that, on the Park for Night, that used to have all the information about what's what in the village. So where all the restaurants are, where all your amenities are. Now this air is surplus to the campsite, and you can go in and use the services, but they're obviously paid services to use your grey water, your blue water, your black water. But I did all that yesterday, so I don't need to do that. I'm here now. I've booked my train home for 6:30 tomorrow morning, Tuesday morning. It's now bank holiday Monday morning, 10 o'clock. And yeah, it's a good little spot, this, if you're doing what I'm doing and killing some time waiting for the ferry or the train. Because literally 6 kilometres that way you're in Calais or Dunkirk. I was watching the ferries in and out yesterday, but I'm going to have a look at those bunkers there. They look really intact. No damage, no graffiti, and see if I can't get told off. Because obviously the locals, the authorities don't want you snooping around them. Mainly for a health and safety issue, I would have thought. But there is a heavy police presence here, and I can only assume that's because of the migrant issue in the area, but I haven't seen any. And literally they just patrol, so they walk up and down, and then occasionally you see they drive it. So I went past here to the dunes when I first got here, and that's where I spotted them. And then when I've looked at the reviews on Park for Night, they've all mentioned that there's a heavy police presence here. But, you know, we would associate them with no, but I don't know. I mean, it seems pointless because there doesn't seem to be a migrant problem here, but I'm only scratching the surface. Anyway, that's a campsite in there. There's a couple of vans in there, and there's 3 or 4 vans here that I would associate are probably doing what I'm doing. It's just waiting for... Well, no, they're French, actually. Who knows? They're just for a cheap holiday. It is Easter. That's where the sign used to be, and that was where all your information is. But that's done a runner. Camperstop.com. So I actually went to a Ayres yesterday, further the other side of Dunkirk. I can't remember the place, but that wouldn't let me in. There were spaces, but the gate would not open because it said it was full. And I spoke to a guy that was in there, and he said, you've got to book to get in, which I found a bit weird. Because obviously that's why it's showing full, because people have booked. But there was spaces there, and I only wanted to be there for the night. But anyway, I found this place, and this is just as good. Right, next time you see me, I'll be rummaging around in the undergrowth. So we're at the last one along this line, and probably the best one that hasn't been filled in. I would say that's probably original. So again, you'd have your big Pack 40 probably out of there. Or as I've been educated, sometimes they used 38mm guns or the guns off the U-boats. Oh, look, and a Tobruk. So this could have been a, well, it's definitely a Tobruk, which is a small one-man opening. Watch my head. And these sometimes had rings on and a turret, but I would say this probably had a machine gun out of it. Awesome. I'm sure they're called Tobruk. And these are scattered everywhere. There's some that are at the end of tunnels. They've even still got the hooks on for the camouflage. So we would have had big nets across here just to camouflage them from the reconnaissance. But that's a big old bunker. And they were all specifically numbered, so they had a type. So this would be blockhouse and it would have a number. So when they built them, they would say, well, I want number 261, or they'd be similar in design, and then they'd know how to build them. Similar to how we build houses nowadays. So a house would have a number and a name in an estate when you build them. Very similar to what these would have had. And then everybody knows what they're building. but we are a fair way from the coastline. Good, probably 600 or 700 metres. But I think this is a man-made wall, because I did see a 2 metre high wall that I struggled to get over myself. It's like an anti-tank wall. And the wildlife is lots of birds. And I think it's more of a nature reserve, because I can see what I assume is bunkers on the marshland, and they're dug in. Yeah. And I would say, I think there's a word for them, but they are bunkers, but they've been recommissioned for twitchers. And there's another DFDS coming in. That's Dunkirk there, it's the port walls. What's in here? Oh, it's a lovely day. Right. That's mental. It looks like it's floating on ground, that ferry. Another great evening. Very similar to last night. I think it's probably a little bit more cloud than last night. But there is I don't know, because I couldn't see a flag. I've got my binoculars, but I couldn't see a flag on it. But I'm thinking that's the French Coast Guard, possibly on patrol, looking for little boats. Not a soul on here, which is great. I find this hard to believe, really, because it's such a beautiful evening. There's a bit of a chill in the air, but there's still some good heat in that sun. Yeah. Doesn't look like it's moving, but it is. I've done a little bit of research today, and apparently the timbers in the beach are to help stop the erosion on the bank. But they go quite a way back. I think that's the last lot there, and that's Dunkirk in the background. And there's another fortification that's fallen off its pedestal. But they're just upturned trees. And I would think this is more of an observation point. Could have had a gun in it, but you can see where it once was sat, and it's either been pushed off or it's fallen off. I'm going to set a time-lapse camera up. Hopefully it won't get disturbed. We'll see how we go with that. Yeah, so each casemate and bunker. So bunkers are generally dug in the ground, and casemates are out of the ground, and these are definitely casemates, and they will all be numbered. I'm not 100%, but I will find out, and I'll put it in the comments in the description. I think these are R612s. More observation points than had any heavy guns in. This one, the first one, has actually still got its conical. I'm going to call it a conical, but that bit sticking out the top is a steel conical. And as I understand it, that would have been a periscope. So that's I went in it last night and took a picture, but it's still all there. It's obviously heavily rusted, but the top bit, that's made of steel, and it would have had like a submarine type periscope in. So your, I don't know what you'd call him, guy looking out, waiting for the British and the American onslaught. And they're quite rare to be still in situ, because like a lot of the tanks and the heavy steel, they stripped because they had a value at the end of the war, scrap value. But this one remains. You can clearly see it's steel. And I'll drop a picture of the picture I took of it last night. We've got to find a nice place for the camera. For the oh God, my mind's gone blank. For the time lapse. So this probably would have been sat further up at some point, and obviously coastal erosion. But as you can see, there's no massive opening for a heavy gun. So it's quite, and they're both the same, but it's quite weird that these didn't have guns on them. But they probably would have been with a load of others that did have guns. And I can't actually get on the top, but there might well be a Tobruk on the top, an opening for a gun. So there's a hatch out the back here, and that bits of steel sticking out is actually a foot ladder. So they would have been able to get to the top. And obviously most of this would have been underground. I did bring my head torch this time as well, so we'll do a bit of footage in there. So let's go. So heavily fortified, so you got a steel door to get in. There would have been a machine gun out of there. And they're in really good condition. Being it's been on the beach for 80 years. Another machine gun point. Let's get into it. There you would have been your machine gun point. I don't know what would have been in here, whether this ground is made up a bit because of, I doubt the soldiers would have squatted to get anywhere, but who knows. It's very eerie. I can hear the sea. Now we're at the conical. So you can still see the mechanism, the gear. And you can still see the hole in the top. So I'm guessing the periscope would have come down like you get in a submarine. Would have come through that hole. And then your guy would have stood in here and just, this would have spun 360. Still got an electric cable there. Amazing. And if you can imagine, this would have probably come way down and he would have periscope up in whatever German that is. And he could have took a 360-degree view of the beach, the ocean or the sea in front of him, and land behind him. Got to remember how to get out. Seems like a lot of rooms for just an observation, and it's such a big structure to just have one purpose. But I think that's what its purpose was. I'm just going to return just to make sure I haven't dropped anything, because that pouch was open. Oh. It's got to be 6 meters to the top there. Anyway, I don't think I've dropped anything. The pouch on my camera bag was open. Watch my head. And that's a hatch there, look. He stuck a machine gun out of there. Still lots of fixings in situ. I suppose this could have been a quarters, bunk beds. And there you can actually see how thick the walls are. It's 2 meters thick. Brilliant. Do you know what I mean? It's like a lot of structure for just an observation post. So unless it had heavy guns on top, I don't know, but and it's got no aperture on the front to house a gun. But it looks like it's been part of a big complex here, because there's lots of buried stuff. There's even a platform up there. That's where I'm going to put the camera, I think, to get the sunset across the top. So this is the second one. It's a similar construction, not as big. Oh, there's the conical. Look. So if you can think about it, that would have spun round mechanically on a switch. See, now when you put these together, interlink them, like some of the bunkers that we've seen, you could probably get your head round their purpose. So they're the ventilation, or fake ventilation. Now I can't get in this. Well, I could do. I suppose I could climb up there. But I'm thinking that you put a grenade in the top and it would just fall out the bottom by your feet. They did do that. Let's have a walk around the front. And I don't know, but there's block work here which would say to me that's an internal wall. So when it was part of its feature, I'm thinking this is an internal wall. You know, unless it was built after, but I just can't see that. And there's lots of old concrete lying around. And I don't know how they got in this, whether they were blown up or whether this is just 80 years of hard weather and beach erosion. Again, that looks original. But there isn't much on Google to tell you anything. So there would have been a heavy machine gun out of there. See, you know, so it could have been just pointing across the beach. Right, I'm going to attempt to get in it. Because I haven't got a lot of time left. Let's see what we can do. Right. Hang on, you won't hear me. Right. Now I could have sworn this was a new battery in there, but I've got 10% battery left, so I'm not going to get much of that time lapse. But what I can do is do a time lapse on my phone. So I might do that if I can think of a way of and all I've proceeded to do really is get sand in everything, which is not well. Oh, the boat's back. He's patrolling. But I would say it's a good night for a small boat or a big boat. I'll find something to lean my phone up against now. And all, like I say, all I've proceeded to do is get sand in everything. Okie dokie. There you go. So I'm going to leave you. I've just looked through the binoculars and I think I can see Dover Castle, and I can definitely see transmitters, and I can see the coastline because as the sun comes down it's silhouettes. I didn't see that last night. See a lot through these glasses. Well, that is a beautiful sky. And another day gone. So the DFDSs are now passing like ships in the night. Hither and thither. Okay, that's my French, Italian, German, Belgian, Swiss adventure over. Until next time, I hope you've enjoyed it. I have. It's been a great 7 weeks, I think. And as I said before, it's back to reality. Hopefully I get this new job. And we'll see what happens going forward with my adventures. But the summer will continue. Won't see a lot of Big Eddie. That's got to have some work done. A few seals on the diffs because they are leaking, and a little bit of body work. The door needs sorting out. So I'm going to have a little bit of body work done on that. But my adventures will continue in the one and only Percy, aka Webb's Failure. So keep an eye out for that. I will post it to Travels with Big Eddie. I can't have, it's bad enough having 2 Instagrams. I can't have 2 YouTubes as well. But yeah, so keep an eye out for that. We've got a busy summer ahead of festivals, Volkswagen shows, BMX events, and just camping in and around the Suffolk area, Norfolk area. We may even venture further afield. So thanks for watching, and stay tuned for next week. We'll be somewhere in Suffolk, maybe. Who knows? Keep watching. Thank you. Bye.